Imagine this. A sudden headline flashes across screens. Top U.S. leader assassinated. Blamed on Iran. Not just any attack, but a targeted strike on an American statesman, a deliberate assassination. What happens next? This is not fantasy. After the ongoing conflict between the United States and Iran in 2026, tensions have exploded into open war. In February, a joint U.S. Israeli operation struck deep inside Iran, killing the country's supreme leader and other top figures. That assassination alone triggered a wave of retaliation and regional instability. Now, imagine the reverse. Iran, or its proxies, succeeds in killing a top American leader on U.S. soil or targeting an American president. How would Donald Trump, known for his unapologetically aggressive foreign policy, respond? First, consider Trump's own statements. In recent remarks, he warned that if Iran ever tried to assassinate him, the response would be devastating. There will be nothing left of Iran afterward. That's not rhetorical exaggeration. It reflects a worldview where decisive force is the first response to existential threats. So, the moment the news broke, Washington would go into crisis mode. National security councils would convene. The military would assume DEFCON escalation. Intelligence agencies would be scrambling for confirmation and attribution, because whether it was a direct Iranian order or a proxy group, the perception of culpability matters as much as the act itself. Next would come the military response. Trump has already authorized major strikes inside Iran and intensified sanctions in recent months. If one of America's top leaders were killed, a swift, massive counterattack would almost certainly be on the table. This could include airstrikes on Iranian military infrastructure, missile sites, and command centers, designed to destroy Iran's capacity to strike again and to send an unmistakable message: attacking U.S. leadership is a red line. But retaliation wouldn't only be military. Expect economic warfare on steroids. Trump's maximum pressure sanctions regime has already crippled Iran's economy, particularly its oil exports and ability to access global markets. After an assassination, even harsher financial restrictions would likely be unleashed, freezing assets, banning trade, and isolating Tehran further. Then comes the internal political pressure. America's public opinion is already deeply divided over the war in Iran. Recent polls show only a minority of Americans support continued military strikes. Broad retaliation after an assassination could spark fierce debate between those who demand vengeance and those who fear a wider war. Diplomacy, if it even exists in such a moment, would be secondary. Trump's track record shows he negotiates from strength, not weakness. In the days following an attack on U.S. leadership, he would house press conferences with strong, forceful rhetoric, military chiefs briefing troop movements, and sanctions announced in quick succession. But it's not purely a U.S. Iran problem. Iran has allies and proxies across the Middle East and beyond. A full retaliation might risk widening the conflict, as Hezbollah, militias in Iraq, or even cyber actors strike U.S. interests abroad. Intelligence assessments already warn of cyber attacks and proxy retaliation after acts of war. Economically, global markets would react almost instantly, from oil price shocks to stock market volatility. Countries dependent on Middle Eastern energy and trade routes would brace for fallout, further complicating diplomatic efforts. So, the scenario plays out like this: shock, attribution, retaliation, escalation. A top U.S. leader's assassination by Iran would not be an isolated event. It would trigger a cascade of military, political, economic, and global responses. And at the center would be Donald Trump, a leader who has repeatedly signaled he prefers overwhelming strength as a deterrent, and whose instincts in crisis lean toward decisive retribution. In global politics, actions have consequences, and in this case, the consequences could be not just regional, but worldwide.